Weil Sprechen ist besser als Schießen. Und Wien bietet sich an als Ort für Verhandlungen. There is the role of the European Union and there is the overall position of the European Union. Wir brauchen ein Europa mit mehr Stärke nach außen und mehr Freiheit nach innen.
Hello, this is the national holiday of Kosovo. Today, February 17th, when we are releasing a book. And the name of the book is Kosovo and the EU, State of Play and Future Perspectives. And actually, a lot is happening in Kosovo these days and around Kosovo all over the world. We saw swift elections last Sunday in Kosovo. We will talk about that as well. We will vote on the Kosovo report in the European Parliament in a few weeks. The State of Israel has recently recognized the Republic of Kosovo. A lot is going on in the world, in Europe, especially in the Western Balkans, and in particular in the Republic of Kosovo. I'm happy that we release this book actually on this very day, the national holiday of the Republic of Kosovo, and I'm more than happy to have the opportunity to talk about Kosovo and the state of play and future perspectives today with Teuta Sahacia. She serves as Deputy Foreign Minister of the Republic of Kosovo. Teuta, we have met several times in New York City, where you served as a Kosovo diplomat. I'm happy to meet with you today as a government official of the Republic of Kosovo, as a Deputy Prime Minister, Deputy Foreign Minister. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you for joining. And Viola von Kramon-Taubadel is also with us in this call today. She serves as the rapporteur of the European Parliament on Kosovo. Teuta is at this very moment in Pristina, the capital of the Republic of Kosovo, and Viola is in her home Bundesland in Germany, in Niedersachsen. Thanks to both of you for joining. Before I hand over the floor to Teuta, I want to make you, as listeners, aware of the fact that there is, after this talk, something else to listen to as well. It's a piece of art performed by Lule Elesi. She's a Kosovo artist, a contemporary artist, born and raised in the city of Qilan in Kosovo. She studied in Prizren, and due to her Albanian ethnicity, she was that time not able to further study in Kosovo. So she studied in other countries of the Western Balkans, and she has recorded many tapes. And one of the youngest, newest released recordings from her was recorded in Vienna, in the Mozart House, Vienna, in the capital city of my home country, Austria. And we will listen to a piece of art from Ludwig van Beethoven, performed by her in the end of this video by this Kosovo artist. But before that, we talk about Kosovo and the EU, state of play. And the reason why we talk today is the release of this book. This book can be ordered for free online on my website. You will find it easily, and it has been released in 4 different languages, in German and English, and in the official languages of the Republic of Kosovo, Albanian and as well Serbian language. Teuta, thank you again for joining. We had elections on Sunday. There's a lot going on in Kosovo and around. State of play, that's what's the title of the book. What's, in your view, the state of play for the Republic of Kosovo, and what do you say about future perspectives for your country? Teuta, the floor is yours.
Lucas, thank you. Thank you for organizing this video meeting, but also thank you for a book. I think that book about Kosovo and about state of play of Kosovo is very important. It is important to be read and to be discussed not only among Kosovars, but also among MEPs and other actors that that somehow are linked to Kosovo. I want to congratulate you and Viola for your dedication, for your hard work on not only about Kosovo, but working to create the good relationship between Western Balkans and I'm of course concerned about Kosovo. Yesterday we had a parliamentary election. In fact, Kosovo had very often parliamentary election these 2 years. We had many changes in the government, and I hope that this time of growing as a country is coming to a maturity, and I hope that we will have government and institutions that will last, and lasting will give more stability and more planning to us and to our partners in Europe and in the United States. About this election, I have to say, as a feminist, as a person who really work about women empowerment, I have to say that women were those that raised heavily the numbers of votes in the for Levizia Vedvendosia, and I think that was a message, that was a strong message for other parties to work and to start to consider women as a strong partner in building of state. This was about election. We are now waiting for official results, although 98%, 99% almost are already counted, and Vedvendosia, it is believed to form by itself. Vedvendosia and Lista Vjosa will form by itself the government, and after the government we will have again one more challenge. It is the election of president. As you know, our constitution requires to have 80 out of 120 and two-thirds of majority of members of parliament, but also two-thirds of majority in minority communities. So it will be also the challenge, and I hope that we will overcome that quickly and easily, because having a new election again will not contribute to Kosovo, but not contribute also to the region. About relationship of Kosovo, when we talk about Kosovo, we cannot not talk about relationship with the European Union. In 2015, we voted. In fact, I was then chair of Committee of European Integration when we voted on Stabilization and Association Agreement. That was the first accord with European Union and really gave Kosovo one touchable message of a European perspective. But after 2015 and starting of Stabilization and Association Agreement, our progress toward European Union was not easy one, and not many things changed. We still have 5 non-recognizers, unfortunately, and even visa liberalization that was granted to many other countries, even outside of European continent, is still something that European Union is not willing to allow Kosovo citizens to travel through to European Union.
Thank you, Teuta, so far. If I may, let's go deeper into the other questions a little later between Kosovo and the EU. Thank you for sharing the clear picture regarding the election last Sunday in Kosovo. Obviously, the preparation for forming a government and electing President of the Republic of Kosovo are ongoing in Pristina. Thank you for this first-hand information from your side, and thank you also for focusing on important questions in the relation between Kosovo and the EU, especially visa liberalization, as you have mentioned. And we will go deeper into some other questions maybe a little later after handing over the floor to Viola von Kramon. Viola, thank you so much for our great cooperation here in the European Parliament, negotiating and working on the Kosovo report of the European Parliament, which is of utmost importance, not only for the future of Kosovo, not only for the future of the Western Balkans, but for the future of Europe in its entirety, because the Western Balkans and Kosovo are so important for the EU and Europe as a whole. Thank you also for contributing to this book, Viola. The book releases statements from involved persons, from different political parties, different political groups, interdisciplinary, from arts, from religion, from economy, from civil society, from military, from very much different areas of society, from Kosovo, from Austria, and from other European states, of course also from Germany, since Viola is a German representative, but most importantly in that case, the rapporteur of European Parliament for the Republic of Kosovo. Viola, thank you for joining. What's your statement from scratch, so to speak, regarding state of play for Kosovo and future perspectives for this youngest state of Europe? Viola?
Thank you very much, Lucas. First of all, for this excellent initiative. While we're both working hard on, let's say, showing people in the European Union how important Kosovo is, as you said, not just for the region, not just for individual bilateral relationship, but for the entire European Union. I think this book really shows the diversity of this country, shows the importance and also how close Kosovars are really. I mean, they are Europeans and they are so convinced of this necessity of a European integration, a European path. These are globalist people. They are much more cosmopolitan than many other of the so-called Western states. So I'm always very impressed when I'm in Kosovo speaking to people. I can communicate at least in English and in German. I'm really impressed by the people, how much they have seen, what they've experienced, what they've built up. And I'm really grateful to you now taking the initiative and showing the different aspects of the society, as you said, to our European friends, to our citizens in the country, so that they can either in German or in English convince themselves and read themselves and witnesses how important it is that we have good relations, and that we are not just have good relations, but this is a crucial part. And we have to make sure that the Western Balkan countries, as they are, become a member of the European Union, but also have, I mean, an interest and ownership for the standards of the European Union. I don't want to comment on the last election because I think that's not the time to do it now. I guess we wait really until we see a formed government and maybe also the first, let's say, program or programmatic agenda. But nevertheless, I've seen, at least at the election, they were free, they were fair, they were democratic. So in that respect, you see Kosovo is maturing in terms of political development. And that's also important to show to the people in the European Union. It's not any kind of, let's say, lost failed state. It's the opposite. Yeah, they are developing even without international election observation, and they have managed to conduct in a very short time, in a very short period, to have a real good process for election. And I think this is important to mention as well. Now it's up to us. As you have said, we will put a lot, or have already put a lot of brain in the report, but really to build up these economical ties. We have to give a good perspective to the people in Kosovo, and we have to find different angles. How can we involve ordinary citizens? How can we support for a better health system, for a better and let's say, corruption-free education, higher standards in that respect? And of course, a precondition for many of us is that we will see visa-free regime, visa-free traveling for all ordinary citizens in Kosovo. While we suffer a lot with many people who have said, why doesn't the EU deliver? You can be sure the European Parliament and the Commission have committed many times, and it's unfortunately just up to the European Council, the head of states, and I do hope that until the end of the year we can see some more, let's say, progress in that respect. So thanks a lot, Lukas, for this great initiative. I'm happy to contribute and more than happy to speak about some more points during our little discussion here.
Thank you, Viola. Teuta, if I may hand over the floor again to you. You served as a diplomat, have impressive work accomplished for your country in New York City. You come from academia originally as a scientific researcher, as far as I know, and as far as I remember our chats before. Now you serve as a deputy foreign minister, but some issues Viola has now focused on, and I would also like to focus on, frankly, are related to domestic questions within the Republic of Kosovo, like education, like the health system. But of course, on our minds is also the Kosovo-Serbia dialogue, which remains important for the future of both countries, of the whole Western Balkans, and of the integration process for all the 6 Western Balkan countries. And you were before about to state something about other questions regarding Kosovo's relation to the European Union. Can you go deeper into at least some of these priorities, education, health, Kosovo-Serbia dialogue, relations within Europe of the Republic of Kosovo, and maybe beyond the United States of America remain important? Even Kosovo remains a European country, of course. So what priorities do you see into that field, and what future perspectives should be used as opportunities for the people of Kosovo, Teuta?
Thank you, Lukas. Let's start with domestic issues. As you mentioned, education, health, but I think economy and rule of law are also very high importance to Kosovo. About education, I must have to state that although our education is always very criticized, very much criticized, we are always forgetting that today's teachers and professors are the students who learned in houses and who learned in mosques and churches. It was not, our education was not killed totally during 80s, end of 80s and 90s especially, but it was heavily damaged. And I think that we and others are too much critical about education, forgetting that we didn't start at the same position with all others. Fortunately, education was put as a priority. There were a lot of scholarships, European Union scholarships like Young Cell, but also a lot of scholarship with United States, who are fast forwarding and preparing our new young people and new teachers that will teach our children to overcome faster this crisis that we had during the 80s. And education cannot be also perceived as isolated, but also as a part of economy. I'm happy to hear from Viola about her impression on Kosovo. Kosovo is really young, has a young population, speaking a lot of languages. Per capita, we have the biggest number of people who are certified in Cisco, in Juniper, in networking, in telecom, and that gives really a good perspective that need to be used, linked with education, with economy, with cooperation with European Union and others. And here I have also to mention, to thank European Union as our biggest donor, and to mention also Washington Agreement that dedicated $1 billion to our economy that will be linked with Serbia's economy. And I think that that is a good joint European Union and United States through their impact. I think that that can speed up our dialogue, and the very clear messages from President Biden and from European Union, not so clear I hope it will be clearer that this dialogue have to end in mutual recognition. And I think that with mutual recognition, it's not only Kosovo that will benefit, it will benefit Serbia, and I think that the European Union will benefit. It will not have an issue in our region, it will keep away Russia and Chinese influence, and will concentrate energy toward European Union and toward the strengthening of economy, of health, of education, of Kosovo and of our region. That's why I think that visa liberalization, although can be perceived as different thing, but I think it is very much linked. It will give to our young people especially the clear message of that perspective, not perspective from now to indefinite, but also will give to our people possibility to travel, to see Europe, and to see that a lot of things can be done in Kosovo, that Kosovo is not the worst place in the world. And
It's quite
I
the
think
other way
that
around. I would say, Teuta, Kosovo is a beautiful country with a great hospitality and has the youngest average age of Europe. As we all know, many young people who are well educated or at least seeking for education and who are willing to work are there present. And as I know, at least Austrian companies, but companies from all over Europe are happy to work together with, especially young people in Kosovo, especially in the field of software architecture, software engineering, the broad field of information technologies, which is growing and growing. So there are future opportunities for the Republic of Kosovo, also beyond the political trouble we have to solve. At the moment, I always state that a future perspective, a vision could be that Kosovo and maybe also other parts of the Western Balkans could become some kind of Silicon Valley of Europe. Teuta, you have stated several very, very important things. We cannot discuss everything entirely in this today's call, but maybe we can focus a little on important things. Rule of law was among the things you have mentioned, and I guess if investments from the European Union and other parts of the world should be gathered in Kosovo, which will mean creating jobs in Kosovo. If investments should come, rule of law will be of utmost importance, and reforms in that field will also be an obligation for the new government of Kosovo, but also the visa liberalization you have several times mentioned, and Viola has mentioned, is something the EU have to keep as a promise. European Parliament has voted for that several times, and I'm not happy that Kosovo people need so much patience in waiting for visa liberalization, which has been granted for the 5 other Western Balkan countries, and even for the huge Ukraine and its people. Visa liberalization will be of utmost importance. Of the Kosovo report of European Parliament, Viola, what else would you state as strong messages of the Kosovo report of European Parliament? We will vote in a few weeks. You as the head negotiator for that, Viola, what will be the message of European Parliament, not only to Kosovo, but to the world regarding Kosovo at this very moment in time, in this crucial year of 2021?
Well, I guess that the independence of the judiciary and the rule of law reform or judiciary system is crucial for everything. And as you said, I mean, foreign direct investment will be only attractive if you have something like a rule of law system which works and which is reliable. So this is surely one of our, let's say, core messages. And the other core message I would like to give, especially we do not have a government or not a new government now, is that we stay on the pro-European track, that we have a committed government who knows that everything is linked to the Euro integration and that there is no time to lose and to do other things. You need both. You need domestic reforms for sure, and we will agree on this, but nevertheless, please stay on this dialogue track while we see there is a bit of a progress, but could be not achieved enough to have a final agreement for mutual recognition. But since we have President Biden now in office, and since we know that it will be an easier alliance than during the last period or during the last term, I really ask everyone in the future government that we keep this as a priority and that we see this as a chance for the young generation in Kosovo. Of course, as an environmentalist, I would also see health and climate change. I see that we have to work on, let's say, a new energy supply, while in winter times it's not so comfortable to live in Pristina and some other places. And I also see this for the citizens of Kosovo. You have to have an interest to improve the health condition, the social conditions for people, that they can be ensured that the standard of life must be improved on the ground. But nevertheless, I see the geostrategical, the European path as one of the core messages from our report.
Thank you, Viola, and thank you also for working on a report which is like this and which is obviously something nearly each and every parliamentarian in European Parliament will be able to agree on. And this is a strong message itself from European Parliament, that we strongly stand behind the Republic of Kosovo, which is also unfortunately a difference compared to the European Council, where still a very small minority of member states, governments block development regarding Kosovo, especially in the field of visa liberalization, but also in other fields. Tiuta, if you would have to state, I don't know, the three, could be more, most important priorities for the foreign policy of Kosovo for the years ahead, what would that be?
About foreign policy, I think that in this position that Kosovo is, it's still not a candidate to European Union. It's not still member in United Nations. I think that foreign policy is very important for our country, and cooperation with friendly countries is of utmost importance. We are now members of many international organizations, but there are also organizations that we are still not, and that block Kosovo's prosperity because of lack of membership in these organizations. I think that we together need to work Kosovo to become member of Council of Europe. We need to work to become member of NATO. And we need to become member of United Nations. There are so many obstacles that citizens of other countries even don't know that they exist. We still do not have even the domain, internet domain. We had very big difficulties to have the country code that is still in many places is lacking, that internet sites do not recognize. We don't have many other things because we are not member of ITU or member of UNESCO or member of Interpol and other. But I would state this Council of Europe, I would state membership to NATO and United Nations membership.
Thank you.
With dialogue, of course.
Thank you. I will be happy to join you in all these endeavors, because to connect Kosovo also formally more with the rest of the world will be of utmost importance, and will be the thing the people of Kosovo actually deserve, in my view. Viola, time is running up pretty quickly. May I hand over the floor to you for your conclusion, your final statement of today's book presentation, and for the message you want to convey.
Well, first of all, I wish the book that we see a big reader and an audience, that people take the opportunity to have a look how Kosovo from inside looks like, and why it is important that we go there, that we travel there, that we maybe have a twin city from Kosovo with our local communities, that we start to be more interested in the potential, as you have rightly put it, Lucas. And I see that's a good start also for different groups of our societies to spread it around, not just among decision makers and multiplicators, but also ordinary people. And maybe we can start new initiatives in the field of youth, in the field of, I don't know, sports or whatever it's possible. I guess that the European Union has a lot of provisions in different programs, and we could go and spread the book around our local mayors, member of council, and just make them interested in the state, which is so important for all of us.
Thank you, Viola. Teuta, the final word should be yours today regarding the content of today's talk. I'm happy to see you in Pristina today. I look forward to visit Pristina as soon as it will be possible again after this pandemic. And I want to hand over the floor to you for the final word of today's book presentation. Teuta?
Thank you, Lucas. We are now 13 years old. We are entering teenagers, but I hope that we will overcome those years quickly. And as we see, we are becoming a more mature society, more mature state. I want to end it with a positive thoughts. It's we already have had elections. I believe that Kosovo, together with friends from European Union, from United States, and from our Western Balkans, have a good perspective, but we need also some incentives that show that this perspective, I am a mathematician and engineer, I know that perspective can start from now to indefinite, but I hope that perspective will be seen, will be touchable, will show to our people possibility to meet young people there in IT, in sport, in singing, in music, in many other things. Kosovo can give additional value to others also, not also only to us.
Thank you, Teuta. And one of these additional values from Kosovo we will have the opportunity to listen to now. You mentioned culture and music. Now we can listen to Lule Elesi's interpretation of this piece of Ludwig van Beethoven, which will start right now. Thanks to Viola, thanks to Teuta. Stay healthy, stay safe. All the best from Brussels to Niedersachsen and to Kosovo. Take care.
if somebody reacts with violence to a solution proposal, this is not a reliable partner. We have lost Great Britain and Northern Ireland. We should do all that we can not to lose the Western Balkans as well. Ich sage das deshalb, weil in Europa die europäischen Werte, die universale Werte sind, auch gelebt werden.